Service. What's up? It's Lip Service, and we really do have a special guest today, and I'm excited for this. Yes, I'm Angela Yee.
I'm Gigi McGuire.
I'm Stephanie Santiago.
I'm L'Oreal.
And Chelsea Handler is here.
Woo! And I'm Chelsea.
Everybody says their name. You know what's funny? A funny Chelsea story is with my career in radio, right? I remember this guy was telling me, he was in the industry, and he said, Angela, you got to start thinking about your career and not being so raunchy. He was like, because what are you going to transition into? I said, well, do you know what I want to do? I said, I'd rather fashion myself after Chelsea Handler. No offense to Oprah, because I love Oprah, but me and her are just not anything like I have a show called Lip Service. I've already talked about sex and relationships and all kinds of things, a whole lot that there's no going back.
And anal.
We've talked about anal.
Oprah is not talking about anal, and I'm here to talk about that, actually. So let's get started.
Oh, we didn't get her that butt plug. Do we have any? Have you ever used a butt plug?
I have not used a butt plug.
I woke up with a butt plug in me this morning.
Wow. Wow.
I woke up like this.
I did wake up like that.
Well, good for you. Yeah. Good for you. Yeah, and you just made me a perfect drink, so obviously things are working for you.
I think that is a talent, because Gigi actually gave me some butt plugs, and it was a variety of sizes. Mm-hmm. And she was like, here, this is good for beginners. So I tried to use the beginner one, and I was like, oh, this is small. I probably could just put it right up there. It didn't work.
It didn't?
Nope. Couldn't get it up.
Yeah, that's good to have things for beginners, intermediates, and experts for all devices. You know what I mean? Because everybody's got something different going on.
Mm-hmm. How did you have anal without a butt plug?
I haven't had a lot of anal, to be honest with you. I mean, I haven't found somebody who's really into that. So I have to wait until I've done that. Sorry to disappoint you guys. Really sorry.
There goes one stereotype destroyed.
Yeah, because I feel like they think a lot of
Tell me about it. Do you love it? I've done it once or twice. It's not a thing that I've done multiple times. Tell me. Fill me in.
It hurts at first, but then it feels really good.
Better than vaginal sex?
No.
Right.
No, but it does feel
But
good.
it's a nice change of pace, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's good when you're on your period.
Yeah.
Angela.
I would guess.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just tuck the string, you'll be all right.
Okay, now let's talk about your documentary, Hello Privilege. It's me, Chelsea. And what made you decide to do this documentary? Because we had a nice discussion before you came in about white privilege.
Yes. Well, I think the election was a real turning point for me. I know it was, because I just couldn't believe that this baboon was fucking elected. I couldn't fucking believe it. So I went into therapy because I was acting like a spoiled brat in reaction to his election. And I realized that this was the first time. I remember getting into my driver's car. My driver's black. I got into his driver's car at the end of the election that night. I was at my best friend Mary McCormick's house, and I got in the car and I was crying, and I just go, I can't believe this man is the president. I can't believe it. And I said, Billy, he's been my driver for years. He's like part of my family. I said, Billy, what do you think? And he said, we're done. This is your problem now. Mm-hmm. You know, black people are done fighting. Like I'm done. He wasn't speaking for all black people, obviously, and it hit me like, oh my God, how do people of color, like I'm this upset, and I'm upset about about the way that he was talking and everything. And I realized like it was the first time in my adult life that things became or felt unhinged. Mm-hmm. Nothing has ever not gone my way.
Right.
And it made me get out of my own asshole and go, whoa. This is the most upsetting thing that's happened in my adult life. What the hell are other people dealing with?
It's just a series of upsetting things that have led to that. I was in Atlanta, and I was at when it was a Mandarin Oriental, and this white woman comes up to me. I don't know her. She was drunk, drinking by herself. She told me she had gotten into a fight with her husband and left the house. And she goes to me, what's up with this Black Lives Matter thing? She comes over to me just to ask me that. What? She was like, yes. She's like, and I think sometimes people feel like they could I see a black person, let me just ask them. I'm drunk, I want to know. And so I'm trying to explain like Black Lives Matter, and it doesn't mean that your life doesn't matter, but we've been through so much, and we have to do that because people treat us like our lives don't matter. And I'm trying to explain it to her, and she's really not getting it. And I'm like, why am I sitting here trying to explain?
And it's frustrating.
Well, it's also the Black Lives Matter. The fact that there has to be a movement to remind everybody else that Black Lives Matter. That's the conversation
within itself.
Right.
You know, so I think a lot of white people think, oh, well, why am I being blamed for, a society that's unjust or unfair? I wasn't here. Those were my ancestors, which is one of the grossest things to say. It's like, this has been going on for generations. Slavery lasted for longer than we've not had slaves. We had slaves longer than we haven't had slaves. So for every white person that says I wasn't there, it's like, that is so gross. And it's also a defense mechanism, because I've noticed most white people don't want to talk about the subject matter, because if they admit there is privilege, then it's something that they have to give away.
You had some white women conservatives that didn't really believe that there is white privilege.
Yes, they were from Orange County.
And when I'm not gonna lie, when I saw that part of the documentary, it made it a little hard to watch for me. I think I was enjoying it, and then when I got to that part, I'm like, are they serious? And then even one woman even said, well, I see the privilege, this and that. And then one of her friends said, so you do see the white privilege? She said, no, I think I see the black privilege, or like their privilege. And I was like,
slow down.
Is this a joke? I was really lost.
Yeah, they're pissed at people are like, not like that, because I would like to continue a dialogue with those women. You know, I went to therapy for a long time to understand how to talk to people instead of yelling at them, because that's what I did for a career for so long. And it worked for me, but I wanted to be able to sit down and have conversations where I could actually listen to other people and try to have and be respectful of their space so that there is room to grow.
Sometimes it's hard.
It is. Listen, I am like, I like a conversation. I like an argument. I'm all about it, like head first into conflict. But so for me, my exercise was letting people state their opinions, because there's going to be so many white women that watch that documentary that see those 4 white women and think, I'm nothing like those women.
Right. And they all would have fucked Tyshawn, by the way.
Yeah. Let's be clear. Oh, that's so funny.
But they probably did.
All those white women like, no, I don't. But where you at, Tyshawn?
Yes.
Like probably doing anal.
I don't know. Tyshawn looked like he might tear that ass up. I don't know.
Yeah, he would. He seemed even more like that the last time I saw him, which was, as you know, recently.
Like, you think his dick grew from back then?
I don't know what happens with penis sizes, and if they grow while you're in jail, or if they shrink. Who knows?
You think if guys tug their penis a lot, it gets bigger?
I don't think it gets bigger. I think it changes the shape of the penis.
Yeah. Really?
Yes.
Oh. So it's more narrow?
Like, you can tell when a guy masturbates a lot, or if he doesn't masturbate at all.
Really?
I feel like that.
I feel like sometimes guys, I have been with guys who I felt like their penis got bigger over time.
Well, maybe they just became more attracted to you over time.
Yeah, because dick got bigger.
I think when guys get really turned on, their penises do get bigger than normal, right? Like when they're really turned on, it's like, oh, wait, you could be having sex with somebody for like 2 years, and all of a sudden you're like, what's going on down there?
Yes, at least an inch or 2.
Or maybe they just manscaped.
And it looks bigger. Yeah. I like that idea too.
Right.
I don't think from pulling it, it'll get a different shape.
It changes shape.
Really?
Yeah,
like
if a guy masturbates, listen, if a guy...
It's like whittling a stone. Eventually you're going to shave it off a little bit.
That's true.
There's some guys in the room. Or it's like wearing a waist trainer to make your waist smaller.
Right, exactly.
So I would assume if every
your body
day...
molds.
But you got to wear that all the time, because if you're not wearing the waist trainer, the waist is just not trained no more.
But imagine masturbating feels really good, so a guy's going to do it a lot. So if he's tugging it to the side, it's going to eventually curve to the side.
Do you have fingerprints in your pussy?
Imagine a guy wearing a waist trainer and masturbating to the side.
I couldn't imagine.
This is too much.
Now, do you think that white women have sex privileges too?
There's a lot of privilege that goes with the color of your skin, you know? So yes, I would say that, but I mean, that's an uneducated answer, because I haven't had enough time to think about that. But yeah, I think there's just a lot that comes with being white, that if you are white, why do you think about it? You don't have a reason to think about it unless you're starting to really be conscious about it. I grew up in a white neighborhood with a lot of white friends, and then I moved to LA, and I moved to Santa Monica, and then I moved to Brentwood, and now I live in Bel Air. So even though I thought I was woke, which I fucking wasn't, because I've self-segregated, you know what I mean? We all do things in an unconscious way that we're not aware of. And I have the luxury and license, because I can take time off and do the projects that I want to do. I know that not everybody is in the same position, but we're all in a position in our lives to think a little bit more about what it's like to be someone other than yourself.
Because I think even us doing this podcast, right, as women of color, doing a podcast about sex, we got got so much judgment about it.
I bet. I was surprised when I was reading about your podcast that you guys were doing this. I really was, because you still can't even talk about sex, right? You know, I mean, I guess a podcast is really the only format to do it, or a book.
Well, I had a show on Sirius. This is where it started, right? And so Lip Service started off as a nighttime show on Sirius, and it was the first thing like that, right? Where we had Black women talking about sex, talking about our sexuality. But when I tell you, when this first started, and I think it's getting better now, but people were like, oh, a bunch of whores sitting around holes.
Yeah, I couldn't take it too. It was driving me crazy after a while.
And I'm like, why is it so taboo for us to talk about sex? And I don't know, and people have said this to me, I don't think that white women would have had as big they wouldn't have had as big a issue if it was white women as they do when it's Black women. And I don't know if it's our community or whatever that kind of looked down on that at first, but I did get a lot of criticism for it. And it's like, the conversation is still intelligent, and it's something that's necessary. There's so many people that don't have anyone to talk to when they want to talk about sex. They want to talk about different experiences. Like, we had a dominatrix on the show a couple of times, and that's fascinating to me. I was talking to someone yesterday about her experience as a dominatrix, and she was explaining it to me, and it seems like not a bad deal. Like, if you want to make some extra cash.
Oh, really?
Just because dominatrixes
a whip.
don't have sex, right? You're not supposed to have sex with your subs.
You just beat the shit out of a guy, right? In a sexual way.
Yeah, you dominate
and yell
them.
at him. Actually, it's a great exercise for a lot of women, probably.
And degrade him.
Yeah.
And they get off on it.
Yeah.
Have you ever done anything strange like that?
I remember doing a documentary, and we visited this like S&M, you know, kind of couple, I guess. And they were explaining to us, like, you know, the domineering, like all of the things that happen. And I just was it's like swinging. Like, I'm not into that shit. Like, I get it if you are.
Right.
And I don't really get it, but I, you know, yes, do whatever anybody wants. But I'm not going down that road. And yeah, I mean, it's nice to have like a little fun in bed, but I'm not down with all of that stuff. I'm actually like way more conservative than anyone would imagine. Like, you know, at this point, I'm just trying to get some sex, just some basic fucking shit. You know what I mean? I don't need to I don't need to get caught up in anything else.
Do you have to think about whether or not people will know you? Like, I mean, they know you, but like, are they going to talk about it? I can't just go out and meet somebody. You don't care?
No, I don't care. I'm on Raya. I'm on Tinder. Like, I don't care if you tell anybody that you had sex with me. I would love for that to be true. Right. Let's go have sex.
Do you care if they say it's good or not?
I don't care about that either. Yeah,
like, I had sex with Chelsea. It was terrible.
Yeah, that would probably be embarrassing, but I could get past it. That's the price I have to pay.
What about you ladies? I know, do you think about that? Like, Gigi, you're newly single.
Yes, I am.
Are you having sex already?
Yes, I am.
Oh, see, I haven't had sex
I told
in a
you
long
I woke
time.
up with a butt plug.
I know, but I don't know what you're up to on your own, girl.
She was by herself.
I wasn't by myself.
Does anybody masturbate with butt plugs? Is that a good feeling?
Maybe.
I think it's a training thing.
I haven't
it's a training
masturbated
thing.
with the butt plug. But the butt plug last night was just more of me like being like a freak for this guy.
And then you fell asleep.
I surprised him with it. Like, he had no idea until he flipped me over to go hit from the back, and it was like a pink rhinestone.
He was like, wait a minute, something's in there.
What is that? And I was like, it just feels like your thumb is in my butt the whole time. Like, it's not the
And so then did he take out the butt plug?
I know. It stayed in throughout the whole situation.
That's
and
good.
I passed out. I actually tapped out, and fell asleep. And when I woke up this morning, the plug was still in. And I was like, oh shit, it's still there.
So you didn't fart, obviously.
No, I didn't fart.
It's also a great way, if you put a butt plug in, it's a great way to tell somebody, like, no entry here if you're not into anal.
It's like a cork stopper.
It's like, hey, there's already something in here. So,
the space is taken.
Go around the corner.
The seat's taken.
Nobody masturbates by like shoving their finger in their butt, right?
No.
Women,
maybe a guy, because, you know.
Okay.
That's where their prostate is. But
they probably still jerk off.
But, you know, but women, I don't know a woman that has ever said that they masturbate with their butthole.
Because it's like a certain point you have to reach to even like feel the pleasure anyway, right? So you're not going to
get there with
shove all the way up there by yourself with your finger.
Plus, you see her nails?
You can still get it up there.
This is what I don't understand about the nail situation these days, because women's nails are so long. I get it's in, but how do you fool around with a guy with those nails?
So what do you mean? Like if I'm like
Well, if you're in
Putting a
tricky
finger up
area,
him?
if you're around your own vagina or his penis, like what? I mean, don't you have to like think about your nails?
I think you just got to be more gentle. I'm not gonna lie. Since I've been getting these like Swarovski crystals, I haven't tried to, because these will come off, and you don't want this in your butt.
one finger blast.
I used to get my nails done like that, and I used to get all kinds of shit.
Trinkets and shit.
Like 5 years ago, and every guy I was with hated them. Every single one. They'd be like, "Oh,
They're like, how you supposed to finger my
They're
butt with
scared
that?
of those.
Yeah, that's what they're
Yeah,
mad
they hate
about.
them.
They wanted
Yeah,
the
you
finger
can't
up
go
their
in
butt.
anybody's
Yeah,
butt.
They hate them.
no, not today.
No,
But
That's
like,
for girls.
this
maybe
is
you
more
should
for
just
me.
leave one finger.
Yeah, one finger off. Like,
or two.
good idea, Chelsea. Why didn't I think of that?
And paint that nail brown just in case.
Yeah,
Oh my
no.
God, no.
Too far.
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to see shit on my
Too
finger.
way too
Cross the line. That crossed the line. I no longer feel comfortable.
What about you, Lo? Do you think about like who you date or sleep with and if he's gonna talk?
Yeah, but I feel like one thing that, like, if I'm dating somebody or I take it that far, I want him to respect me enough to the fact that he's not running around saying stuff about me. Especially in this, like, we're grown. So if you're doing that, that's the kind of guy that I don't want to be with, you know, or around or anything.
Yeah,
But
that's
you never
a
know.
character. That's a character trait. And if somebody's like that, it's like, exactly. You don't want to date a guy like that.
No, it's disgusting. It's like if you have to go around being like, hey, let me tell you how this was. Like, grow up.
You know that
Find
bitch
another
on lip
pussy.
service? I hit that.
I think
Which one?
guys actually brag about their sexual exploits way more than we do. Like, for sure.
But if they really, really mess with you, I mean, yeah, they're going to say whatever about you, but it's certain
Probably
things
more
you got to...
after the fact. Like, once it's over, then it's like, yeah, I had her.
Oh, yeah, once
But
it's
also,
over.
that's a character. Like if they, some guys don't do that, and some guys do. Some guys actually really respect women. You know, they
Surprise,
actually, where are they?
surprise.
And they don't
Right.
get their self-esteem from advertising every woman that they've slept with. You know, and that's a nice quality in a man.
I actually had a conversation with my co-host on my morning show, and he said that if there was a girl that he knew dealt with a guy he knew, he would ask him, how was she in bed? And I felt like
That's
that was
weird.
Not only weird, but it's like, where are you in your mind that you feel like, hey, so how was? And he said he would ask, how's
He
the
was
head?
thinking with his
How's the-"
penis. Hello?
But I just think that's crazy to me. Like, and if
That's
you
disrespectful.
it's disrespectful.
And plus, sometimes aren't you good with certain guys and not good with other guys? Like I might suck somebody's
Period.
dick
Sure.
fantastically, and then somebody else I might be like. And it also depends on the size of the dick. Like some dicks are smaller and easier to suck.
and you're going to go ham on it.
Right,
So
and you
much
can really
easier.
do every trick. You can,
I'm
yes.
Jewish, so I just want to put it out there that I'm not good at blowjobs.
Really?
Come on,
No.
Chelsea.
I mean, if I'm really into somebody, I suppose I could get good at it. But like, it's not a natural thing for me. I'd much rather have sex with somebody before that happens than give a blowjob.
And then because they might be like, no thanks.
Well, I just don't think I don't think they're going to be that impressed. And it also feels really intimate. More intimate than sex to
really?
me.
Because you could get pregnant from sex.
Well, I'm not going to, so that feels better. Like, and that's at least getting to know someone. Like a blowjob feels like something you really have to do. Like for me, it feels like I really have to be into somebody to want to put my mouth on their penis.
I totally agree with you on that.
I think Chelsea
Yes,
is being a bad
because
white girl.
I agree.
No, ain't no bad head. What's going on? What's going on, Chelsea?
She's not really white.
You're a
you guys.
disgrace to your
She's
Gotta
not
get
really
them
white.
out here so they can teach me how to give a blowjob. All right. Well, what do you guys get out here?
Steph, what was you saying?
I don't remember.
Actually, I have no idea.
I don't remember what I was saying.
You said you were with me. That you're with me. You'd rather have sex than give a
Oh,
blowjob.
like,
no,
help
because
me.
I told. Okay, thank you for
like,
getting
I'm
my
not
blowjob.
like that. You're pointing at me.
Yes. I feel like giving a blowjob is something very intimate. It's like I'm showing off. I'm there. You're looking at me. It's way more intimate than just sex. Like you could turn around and be reading a book while somebody's fucking you from the back.
That would be awful. Read Chelsea Handler's book, Life Will Be the Death of Me, while you're getting
a hand job or a blowjob. I remember once in high school trying to give. I think I tried. It was probably my attempt to give my first blowjob, and I remember the guy putting his hand on my head.
Oh no.
That's the worst.
And when I felt his hand on my head, I thought, okay, I'm not down with I'm not down with anybody putting their hand on my head.
I don't like
You know, women don't do that to men. We're not like, get in there. I mean,
we don't?
I'll
Sometimes. How drunk am I?
yeah, exactly. You got to get to know somebody a lot before you put your hand on their head.
Especially
right?
if they have receding hairline and they haven't shaved. Guys are very self-conscious about their hairlines. And if they don't have a fresh shave and you're on their head, they're like, whoa, wait a minute. But you got to learn how to give a good blowjob.
All right, well, teach me. I mean, you've got a microphone.
Okay, so
look, I'm like, where do we start? Get the Douce bottle.
Okay, this is what I think. The first step to a good blowjob is the anticipation of it, right? If you're a lazy person and you don't want to have to go too long, you just have to tease before you actually do the blowjob because that will make them come faster.
Oh, yeah, I know about that.
Right, so you just kind of like lick around it. So they're like, oh my God, when is she going to finally put her mouth on my dick?
Right.
And
or maybe she won't.
Yeah, but it's the anticipation because I think that they love that. So I would start off like that. Gigi, what's next?
I like to kiss the penis, like pecks, you know.
Make out.
Yeah, like I was just about to say, I really like giving head, and I think I'm really good at it. So I don't know, I'm a little different, but
well, I like that you're enthusiastic about it. I don't have the enthusiasm.
I do. I want to do it. Like you guys are both like, oh, it's hella intimate, and I would rather have sex. I would rather give head.
No, I didn't say I would rather have sex. I just feel like it's more of an intimate moment.
More of an intimate moment.
You just can't suck everybody's dick. I feel like.
You can't suck everybody's dick. You can't even be intimate with everybody. However, you know, a lot of spit helps. And
a lot of hand action.
The further it gets down your throat, it makes your mouth wet. So then that's where the spit comes from.
And I feel like, please don't forget the balls.
Right.
I feel like a lot of people forget the balls.
Yeah, you can't
for obvious reasons.
Don't neglect the balls.
Yeah, and be gentle
at least,
with them.
like caress them. If you're not even going to like lick them or put them both in your mouth like I like to do, then you can just caress them and, you know, just give them a little bit of a tickle massage.
I think I'm such a savage. These tips is I don't do any of that. Like I'm like right to it. Let's go.
You know what the first thing is I do? The very first thing I do when I'm about to give a blowjob is this.
Yeah, me too. And I do the same thing. I do the same exact thing. I lick my hand.
That's the very first thing I do.
It looks like a paw, like a cat.
Yeah.
I think the thing I have with blowjobs is that I think because my first experience was so cemented and it felt so degrading that I have that like it's disrespectful. It was disrespectful. It felt for a man to put his hand on my head. And even at that young age, that imprint in your physical body actually stays with you much longer than you realize.
Right.
So even intellectually, now that I know that was just one asshole, like I'm just like, well, you know, save the blowjobs for somebody who really deserves it.
This might be a good therapy discussion.
Yeah,
it is a good therapy. I'll bring it up with my therapist.
And I feel like I learned how to suck dick better because I had a guy that was like that. Like I was in a relationship with a guy that was more like, come on, he loved head. So it's like I had to do it so much that I got really good at it.
Yeah.
But it would be for like an hour. My jaw would be like locking up.
That's
but I
not
was
right.
young.
That's abusive.
Yeah, that is abusive.
Nobody wants to suck on anything for an hour.
When I was younger,
That's terrible.
you know, and I
wouldn't
felt
do
like,
it for an hour.
I think I just liked him so much that I was like, oh,
I'm gonna make it happen.
Like, I'm
and
gonna
then he's
do
probably
whatever.
holding his
Yeah.
nut. I hate when guys try to make you suck their dick mad long and hold their nut. That's
He was
so
definitely
rude.
doing that.
Oh, I've
Guys
got
definitely
something
do that.
I could talk about on the subject of balls. I just remembered because I've been with, I don't know, are you guys into white guys too? Have you been with a lot of white and black guys?
I have.
I've never been with a white guy.
You've never been with a white guy. I
I've
do
been
think
with like 3 white guys.
I think in my experience, I will say that black men have tighter, more the tighter ball sacks.
I agree with that. Even light skin, like Spanish guys, they're a little looser.
Yes.
Yes, I totally agree.
Something that
So the melanin holds the testicles a little tighter.
Yeah, just the same reason why black people age better, I guess, because their skin is less elastic and they can keep it together more. But yeah, because balls are really tricky, and it's nice to keep them in one area instead of having one slide around and come out. You know, Pikachu. I don't want that.
So like they come around. I've never seen like a ball over here.
Yeah, you can have sex with some older white men, and you'll see what
that's because of gravity too. As they get older, I think the balls drop.
I don't think
I've seen
I'm ever
some
gonna have
long
sex with a
balls
white
in my
guy.
day.
I think people.
Some long balls, you know, they're
see,
hanging.
that's again. It's like long balls don't go together. Long boobs are also not a compliment. And you don't want balls that are long.
I say that all the time. I don't like when they
it don't
swing and they
bother,
hit you.
but-
It's like a pendulum, and they're
Oh
like,
no, but see, I kind of like
don't
that.
bother. It doesn't bother. I don't think it's bad.
I'm gross, guys.
I do not want to get hit in the face or in the butt with balls.
I don't want to either.
I like butt balls.
Butt balls. The ball slap.
I can't do the plug, but I can do the ball.
What about when you're sucking and you like the ball smacking you on your...
No, that's never happened to me. I can't think. Has it? No, I don't think
It's probably hard to suck long balls, too.
Are you supposed to suck balls?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's
Oh
probably
my
why I've
God,
never given a
Chelsea.
blowjob because I'm
I
not going
like
to
to
do
put
that.
them both in my mouth
I'm not
at the same
sucking
time.
balls.
Generally,
No.
that's sucking them
I won't
both.
do it. It's not my thing.
You won't lick it?
No, maybe, but I'm not sucking it. I'm not putting a ball in my mouth.
But what if they're tight, like you said?
Doesn't matter. Nothing's tight enough for that.
I think it's uncomfortable. Like, I'm not a big fan of having balls in my mouth either. Because you can't suck them too hard.
You and I need to go to Sandals together.
Sandals.
It seems like we're on the same.
You guys gotta go to hedonism together.
Yeah,
Right.
please.
Like
Seems like we're on the
Get
same
smacked with some balls.
Please, Chelsea and I at hedonism, we'll be like, oh my God.
Put those long balls away. I know you're busy. Your inbox is full of unread emails. There's dinner to make, and you haven't even taken a deep breath since yesterday. Well, why not unwind and take a moment to reconnect with yourself and prioritize your pleasure with Dipsea Stories. Dipsea is an audio app full of short, sexy stories and guided sessions designed to turn you on. Each story is created with women in mind. They're relatable and immersive. And there's something for everyone, whether you're into men, women, or both. Find stories about strangers meeting on the beach in Mexico or seeing that ex you can't stop thinking about on the subway. They add 3 brand new stories every week, so you'll always have more to explore. Whatever you're in the mood for, Dipsea always keeps it real and really hot. And for listeners of the show, Dipsea is offering a 30-day free trial when you go to dipseastories.com/Angela. That's a 30-day free trial when you go to DIPSEA stories.com/Angela. That's dipseastories.com/Angela. Now, how much does success and money matter in a guy that you're dating now? Does somebody have to have those things? Because you've been with some very successful men. So is it possible for Chelsea to date somebody that is just making it, just scraping by?
Well, there's a difference. I need somebody who, I've tried to date guys who are just like scraping by and it ends up being kind of really uneven. Mm-hmm. I don't need somebody to be like, wealthy or rich or anything like that, but I want somebody who has their shit together, but also for intellectual reasons. I just don't want somebody who's struggling. I want somebody who's on the same page as me. I'm in my 40s now. I'm 44. And, we were joking. Well, it's not a joke, but everybody knows I dated 50 Cent. And then in my documentary, my boyfriend Tyshawn from high school's in it. Mm-hmm. And I said to my friend yesterday, she goes, white guys are never going to ever. She goes, you think you had trouble dating before? She goes, white guys are never going to try to date you now because they think you only like black dudes. Yeah. And I'm like, no, I like white dudes. Right. But they're fucking scared of me. So I probably will end up with a black guy. But I do get hit up by a lot more black guys than I do. And no white guys ever approach me, ever.
I feel like it's like you open the floodgates once the whole 50 Cent, anybody that's near 50 Cent and not scared in a way. So I think from there, they were like, yes, we're all able to slide in her DMs. Right. But before then, I don't think they would have even tried. Even though you seem very cool and I think now you just crossed over into the black community as soon as 50 Cent hit that.
But they're not going to like that you don't suck balls.
I know, but I'm not, I'm an egalitarian. I like white people. I don't discriminate.
This is an equal opportunity for everyone.
Equal opportunity pussy.
Yeah. What about Asian, Hispanic?
No, I haven't had sex with any Asian men. Hispanic, well, a Spanish guy I've had sex with. I've had sex with Hispanic guys. Mm-hmm. Not guys. I think it was that one. But he was actually from Spain. So he
literally Spanish.
He's literally Spanish. I'm into whatever. I'm into a guy that knows what he wants and isn't scared of my personality. It's not going anywhere. So if it's just me and I have to hang out by myself with my friends and my family, I'm also down with that. Mm-hmm. I like to have sex, but I don't need a companion. I don't need a boyfriend. I would love to have that guy, but that may or may not happen.
You seem like you'd be a fun girlfriend.
I'm pretty fun.
Yeah, except that you don't suck balls. I really like to suck dick.
How's that going to affect our relationship?
She has balls.
She's like, I can't be friends with you because you also don't like to suck balls.
No, I mean a girlfriend to a guy,
Oh yeah, I have a lot of guy friends. Yeah. My guy friends all want to have sex with me, but they're all married, so that's how we keep it real.
Okay, wait a minute. No. They all want to cheat on their wives.
No, we don't do it. But those are the kind of guys I'd want to date. My friends' husbands and boyfriends are the guys I'm closest to, and so I kind of get the best of both worlds because all my friends' boyfriends and husbands are always looking out for me, and they're not my boyfriends, but they, you know, it's kind of sweet. And I get to hang out with my girls. I'm a third wheel a lot. I really am.
Yeah.
Or a fifth wheel. It depends. Sometimes there's more than one couple.
Let's go to the movies.
One thing I saw in you is with your friends. It's like, I bring this up all the time. I talk about it a lot because it was like one of the favorite things I ever watched in my life. And it was one of your documentaries, and it was when you did Chelsea Does Drugs. And you guys are all at the table, and that looked like a fun situation.
We should try
but
that.
when you did Ayahuasca, how you say it? Ayahuasca. Would you ever like recommend somebody else to do that, and would you do it again?
I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going right now to meet Jenny. After this, after I leave here today, I'm going to meet her for lunch, the girl in the documentary.
Yeah.
That was Chelsea Does Drugs. And yes, I would do it again. I just did a podcast about it last week with all of us who were in the episode to talk about how we felt about it now that it's been 4 years.
Right.
And if we would do it again. And yeah, I would recommend it. You can't be on antidepressants. You can't be on, you know, you have to really clean out your system. And you have to find a good shaman, and I don't know how you do that. That's just instinct or, you know, a referral. Right. But people are doing it, and people are having transformative experiences. But you have to really respect your own brain chemistry. Like, I know that I take tons of drugs. I always have. I like mushrooms. I like cannabis.
Ange likes mushrooms.
I do like.
I like mushrooms.
We love cannabis.
Oh, so if you like mushrooms, I would
We
say
love drugs.
It's the closest thing. It's not giddy and happy like mushrooms, but it's this joyfulness that comes over you.
Right.
It is the overwhelming gratitude and love you feel. Either for me, it was my sister who's actually standing out there today.
She's here now.
Shauna, she went down to the bathroom.
Hi, sister.
She's probably scared because we're talking about anal. She's like, what? Please. But
I don't know what she does.
We don't know what she gets up to in the sheets. But it was an overwhelming feeling of just love and like gratefulness. And you looked at your life. I remember this scene. It plays like there's just these flashes of imagery, and it's all, your whole life as a kid. Not your whole life, but scenes from your kid, like that are real, that you have in your brain somewhere that you've forgotten about. And dogs. Like, I remember seeing a dog from my childhood. I was like, oh, that's Muttley. And I realized, yeah, you had that dog. Like, this isn't make-believe. All of the things you're seeing were scenes. And it was my sister and I running along the beach at our parents' summer house in Martha's Vineyard, you know, because we're white. And we were laughing and like tipping each other over in kayaks, and we were holding hands. And I remember there was this scene where I was pulling her down by her hair. And I was watching myself, and I'm like, oh my God, I was 3 years old. I'm like, You're already fucking bullying her when you were 3 years old. You're like, and you know, but it was all this like beautiful imagery. And it was, for me, what ended up happening with the ayahuasca was, it was like this voice saying, your sister and you are different. You are not correct. She's not correct. Don't judge her. Because she wants to be, you know, a mom and a family person and wants to live in New Jersey. You need attention. She doesn't need your attention. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm the loser. You know, like, I'm the one who's thirsty here. So it was a whole completely change of my understanding and empathy and compassion for her, and understanding my way isn't the right way. My way is my way, and her way is her way.
And that's absolutely
We should try
fine.
that, guys.
Yeah.
I want to do ayahuasca
I wanna
so
do it too.
bad.
Do it, you guys.
I've
Do
seen
it.
it
Why don't you guys
on,
come to LA
Viceland.
and you guys come to LA, because in Topanga they have like tons of
We'll
ayahuasca.
be in LA.
Yes, they have
in
like
November.
ayahuasca retreats,
Chelsea, when
right?
you do it, we'll come and do it too.
I would totally do
You
it
get
with
us a
you
good
girls.
shaman.
We could
Do it.
record it.
No, we're going to be
Yes,
in LA
and we
in
can
November
record
for the
it.
tour.
Am I going to be embarrassed by this recording?
Yeah,
later?
some people were crying, shitting.
That's how,
It
when
was
I
awesome.
did
Vomit and shit,
when
by
I
the
did
way.
shrooms, I definitely was crying.
Yeah.
No,
But I was crying like happy tears. I just couldn't stop.
That's what it is. That's what ayahuasca feels like. But ayahuasca doesn't make you laugh like shrooms. Like, it's not fun and it's not social. You don't want to like hang out with me and talk to me about what you're going through. It's very
wanna go through it alone.
solitary.
No, when I was living in LA, I was planning. I was like, I want to do ayahuasca and I want to tape it. I want to film it. I want to see how I do.
And let
See,
no
I
one
don't
else
want to
see it.
film it.
I
just
film
want to
it.
go through
But we
it.
could, and then if you don't like it, you can always not. But
Maybe
I
I'll, because I might do another one and film it if you guys do it or I do it. But we should stay in touch, because if I do it, I want to bring a group with me.
Yeah, no, I'd
we're
love
down
to.
with that.
Please
We're
keep me
down.
in mind for
Yeah. All right,
that.
cool.
I would love to.
We should definitely do.
I would
The
do
only
it.
thing I've done on there that you've done other than the normal stuff was the Adderall too. That was another thing that like even brought my interest. I mean, not Adderall, sorry, Ambien.
Yeah.
Because I've drank and took Ambien and done things and not remembered. So when I've seen what you did and you was like drawing your brother and, you know, and I looked at it and I could really like, I'm like, wow, I stopped taking it after I watched that.
Well, Ambien is, you shouldn't take Ambien.
I stopped taking
it's terrible.
it.
It's terrible. There's so many. First of all, cannabis, well, I know it's not legal here, but you guys can get it here.
Yeah.
We smoke weed. We got it right now.
Like, that's
I got it right now.
You need
all you need to do is to go to bed now is take weed. I have a weed line coming out next year in February, and I'm very passionate about cannabis because it is a game changer.
Yes.
You know, made me a lot less angry and a lot like more tolerant of other people.
All right, we're with it.
Yeah, we're going to go do ayahuasca. Am I saying it wrong?
No, I would love to do ayahuasca.
I got it this time.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Just remember, it starts with an A-Y. It's confusing. Believe me, I get it. It's like,
and I feel like I'm such a mess.
Yeah.
Like I'm such an emotional mess. I feel like it would be so interesting for me to take ayahuasca.
Can
to
you
see what
write
comes
while
out.
you're on it? Because you know how you be wanting to like write
I want to
stuff
see
down.
what comes out.
you don't
wanna do
forget
that.
anything. You
Okay.
remember every single thing. I just wrote my book. Like the ayahuasca chapter is a chapter in my book, and I didn't have. It was all right there. It's not one of those drugs where you don't remember. It's not like you remember every detail, and that's what's so profound about it. I think.
Yeah, I'm not, because I don't really do a lot of drugs. I did ecstasy a few times, and it was nice until I had a bad experience, and then I never did it again.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Shrooms,
all it takes is one bad
Shrooms, I
experience
would
and
do
you're
again.
like, oh, okay, no, I'm good.
I love shrooms, and I did shrooms so many times last year.
I've never
taken them.
Now we do
tried.
microdosing with shrooms, which is really helpful. Like I take them when I'm skiing. Like it's like it's literally microdosing. So it just goes like people with depression, people with PTSD. It's just like a more happy feeling throughout your day. And you're like, everything's a little bit more sparkly, but it's almost imperceptible, but it's not if you're paying attention to
I would do a little, a little bit is good.
Yeah, you should try microdosing.
I would do that. All right, now let's talk about you had to take sexual harassment training.
Well, I've had to take it several times. Wow. I've had to take it several times.
L'Oreal needs to take it as well.
They made me take it my job
her
too.
job.
Oh, really?
Because I tried to bring everybody sex toys, but I figured like they knew I have a sex show. What's the big deal? It's not like I was like, hey, I want to see you use this. It's like, you guys want some?
I mean, the sexual harassment training is so ridiculous because, well, it's necessary, but also ridiculous. Like you have to, they should just think a little bit more about the realisticness of like, you know, what they said at the end was that we should all, if you want to say hi to somebody you don't know at work, that you should dab them. Like elbow. That's how you say hello. And I'm like,
Hey,
you can't
hug
fucking
people?
way. Well, you're not really supposed to hug people in the
I don't like when
workplace
people
anymore.
hug me.
You're
You
supposed
know
to
what?
ask if you can hug them.
In
And,
high school, we
"Hi,
had
can I
a no
hug you?"
PDA rule.
Yeah.
In high
Everyone
school,
can.
no public display of affection. We weren't allowed to hug in high school.
Oh
I
my
didn't
God,
like when
that's
people
the
hug
high
me at
school
work.
thing. Where
Yeah.
you hug.
Where did you
You know
go
when
to
the guy's like,
school?
hey, where's
In
my hug
Brooklyn.
at? Like, you didn't
That's
hug me
because
today.
they're trying to feel your titties against their chest,
I didn't have
Gigi.
titties in high school.
Oh,
These are
well,
new.
I did, and they wanted to
well,
feel
they were
them.
trying to feel something else than your butt.
Trying to feel your belly button.
something.
She didn't have a butt then yet.
All
All
of
feel her
this is
belly.
Everything's new.
They're all fresh out the box.
No, but seriously, so L'Oreal had to take it for giving out sex toys. I wouldn't have thought that was a problem either because, you know, I work with a couple of guys, Envy and Charlemagne, and they're very inappropriate.
Yeah, right.
So I feel like I could get them on something.
You probably could. I mean, this is your moment.
Take advantage, Ange.
Envy put he tried to embarrass me and put a sex toy in my luggage once. In my carry-on.
No, that's embarrassing.
It wasn't. I didn't really care.
No, he didn't put it on. He was supposed to put it on so it was vibrating. Duh.
No, he put it in my luggage and I didn't even see it.
They must go through security at airports. Must see so
They
many
must be like,
vibrators.
Listen, I'm
Really?
sure the security saw the butt plug and because it was in my purse.
I can't travel with sex toys.
They probably
I'm
like,
sorry.
what the fuck
I
is
just
that?
started using sex toys like 3 weeks ago. They forced me.
What?
Yes. When
Is that sexual
Johnson
harassment
came.
that we
the
forced
first
you?
time you've ever used a vibrator?
Yeah, I did not. I was like, I always looked at it like I'll just get dick or use my fingers because I just thought it was weird to like fuck plastic or whatever.
Yeah,
it
no,
is.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, but I tried it and now I don't feel the same way.
Yeah,
love
you
it.
like it now.
What are you
Like that
using?
one
The-
toy
the
that you
iVibe.
told me. That's the only
Amazing
one I
What
iVibe.
toy?
Isn't it amazing?
iVibe.
Tell me, it's fantastic.
We'll get you one.
Yeah, get me. What
No,
is
we'll
that?
get you
just
two.
put it on your little dingleberry?
Yeah.
No, it's like a pocket rocket. You ever seen
Yeah.
a pocket
I
rocket?
know
It's
what
that.
power
It's
is.
that
So it's
style.
small.
It's a small vibrator, and it's
But it's a
very
good
powerful.
strength. That's
Yes.
what it is. It's like the vibration.
It's like I
Yeah,
call it the
that's key.
squirt
Yeah.
o-matic.
And it has a little ring, and you put your finger through the ring, and like you don't even have to.
Right.
It's amazing.
Soon men will become extinct. Right.
Victoria, I'm so proud of you for
I like
using
it. I like it a lot. We're gonna get you.
And
one, I promise.
right, you just hold it by the ring. You just let it hang.
Have you ever been late to work playing with sex toys?
No.
Have you ever what?
Been late to work like because you were playing with sex toys or watching porn?
I think this one.
I'm not late because I'm playing with
Maybe
sex
late
toys
to
or
host
watching
a party.
porn. I just won't get out of bed if that's the case. I just will cancel. Like I'm busy.
Oh my
today.
God.
Not work, but
that's
like
when you know you have a
something.
problem. When you
cancel for
shit.
your sex toy?
I'll cancel like a lunch date with my homegirl because I'm in the bed vibrating and masturbating
See, I haven't.
I've done
How many
addicted.
times can you masturbate in a row before you're like, I'm done?
for hours.
Really? Over and you climax one time?
Yeah.
Sorry, don't say
Yeah, like
climax
10,
in this
15
context.
times.
Climax.
Yeah.
Do you ever hold your cum when you're masturbating?
Yeah, I do it all the time.
Right. Because sometimes you're like, I don't want to.
I don't want it. I want to lead up to it and then I stop.
See, but I feel like when I do that,
Once
then
it's
when
over,
And then
you're
when
like,
you
yeah.
finally do it, right.
I feel like if you wait
a
and
dirty
hold it,
person.
the orgasm isn't as good to me.
Me too.
Because what'll happen is I'll orgasm by mistake.
Yep, me too.
And I'm like, fuck, I could have had a good
and
one.
it wasn't a good one. It wasn't satisfying.
And then that's when you
Yeah.
start over and end up there for
Gigi,
hours.
I have to go to work.
I've
shit to
had
do.
days where I masturbate the whole day, but
a
not
job.
like that back to back.
Back
Like
to back.
I'll take like 15-minute, 20-minute breaks. You know,
No,
maybe
and
have
I'm
a
watching all
snack.
kinds
I
of
did
nasty
that a lot of
porn.
masturbating when I was a little girl. I used to call it the feeling because it was when I first discovered my Pikachu, and I was like, "Oh, this is
Yeah.
fun." I was like, "Ding dong, what's going on here?" And I went through a phase where I masturbated, but it got out of control because I was doing it like around my family. Like I'd hide behind an ottoman and be like,
they all do it?
face down on the floor, rubbing my vagina, and like with rug burns on my forehead to the point where my family was like, "What?
Okay,
you
there's
have
a problem.
We know what you're doing."
Oh my God.
Yeah, but I thought I was
They didn't
so
know.
little. You know how you sometimes think people don't know what's up?
You're like, I'm invisible.
I would go on bike rides and use the bicycle seat, and I would just be like, I would use that and the monkey bars on the playground. I remember climbing up
between
them, and I'd be like, "Oh, I'm getting the feeling. I'm getting the feeling.
I'm getting the feeling.
And I got so shamed from it. I didn't get so shamed, but I felt such shame after my parents caught me and told me you have to stop this. And they didn't say just stop it at in public. They were like, just stop altogether. So I felt a lot of shame, and I think that might be why I don't masturbate. Like I
you
just
stopped.
No, yeah. I mean,
Do you watch porn?
no. I mean, when I'm into a guy, I think I have like an underactive sex life and drive. Like I have to get more involved with what you guys are talking about because I mean, you sound like you're all masturbating every day.
No.
I masturbate
I barely
almost
ever
every
masturbate
day.
because I'm
Almost
always
every day.
tired.
Do you have a boyfriend right
Yes.
now? Oh, okay. So then you don't, right.
But he doesn't live here.
But do you still masturbate while you, okay, so if he doesn't live here, you do masturbate. But if you have a boyfriend now, but you're still
I don't
not.
have a
She's the one
boyfriend.
that's single
I have a
now.
boyfriend.
I'm single, but I was just in a 10-year relationship and I still masturbated almost every day.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I have a
So
boyfriend.
you're
and
horny a
sometimes-
lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
and she
okay.
can squirt.
I have a very high sex drive.
Okay, well, copy that.
She can squirt a lot.
I feel
Yeah,
like
I did squirt a lot
when I'm in a
recently.
relationship, I never masturbate unless it's like me and him and he
Yeah.
wants me to. I never masturbate. in a
Not me.
relationship.
Sometimes he's not, and sometimes he'll fall asleep, and I was all like
Yeah.
ready to go.
That's
like,
so
I'll wake him
annoying.
up.
First of all, wake that
So
fucking
I'll
asshole up.
masturbate.
Yeah, I would wake him up.
Yeah, I feel like you still masturbate in a relationship.
You have to masturbate and then put the cum mustache on him.
Like, smell that.
You missed out.
You missed out on that one. This could have been you.
This could have been you. You could have been
You
there.
could have been the reason for this.
He's like, well, it could have been me if you would have sucked my dick to wake me up.
You know what? I've never masturbated in front of a guy before.
Oh my God.
For
girl.
real?
Listen, let me tell you something. If I'm having sex with a guy and I'm about to come and he comes and I don't, I will finish the job right in front of him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
as you should.
too.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Absolutely.
Because he didn't do it.
So you do that, Chelsea?
No, what? No.
why are you co-signing
No, well,
this?
because if somebody fell asleep while I was having sex with them before I came, yeah, I'd wake that fucking asshole up too and be like, hey, buddy, I'm here. I have sex once a year. I need you to wake up.
Do you remember your first orgasm?
Yeah, well, my first orgasm was when I started getting the feeling when I was a little
with
girl.
a guy. With a guy.
No, because I was overshadowed by me being alone with myself on a bicycle seat. I mean, I remember the first time I had sex and liking that, and I was like, oh, I could get down with this. You know, I was like a teenager, and I had an older boyfriend, and I had sex when I was like 15, and I was like, oh, this is fun, and it wasn't painful or anything like that. It was
Because
just
of
like
that bike experience.
yeah, because that bike warmed me up. that banana suit warmed me up.
Bananas.
I mean, everybody likes to orgasm, I think.
Right, yeah. No, but do you remember your first one? Because I remember the first time I ever had an orgasm.
I had an orgasm way before I had sex. With guys, They would make you have an orgasm before if they know what they're doing. I've also been with guys who have no idea how to make a woman orgasm.
Yes, I've been with guys that I've never came with, and I've been with guys who I always can make me come. And you know which one I prefer.
Which one is that? No, I'm joking. All right, Chelsea, you're doing the Red Table Talk as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. What do y'all talk about? Give us a spoiler.
We talk a lot about white privilege, a lot about the new documentary, which is Hello Privilege. It's me, Chelsea, about my own privilege because I wanted to make the film, you know, kind of exploring how I got to where I am, because for a long time I really believed it was because I have a lot of talent or I worked really hard, or I didn't take into account what people who don't have my skin color would go through, or the fact that, you know, I was rewarded time and time again about talking about things that were supposedly taboo, you know, like sex and drinking and one night stands. And that was my first book, was One Night Stands. Yes. And, you know, and I got rewarded for it over and over again. And, you know, it didn't occur to me until after the election and looking at all of the stuff that we were seeing with all of these people being shot in the back by police multiple times, of all the discrimination, of all the stuff that made me go, oh my God, you've been so far up your own ass. You haven't even considered or contemplated what it's like to not be you. Because I think we get lost, and, you know, this is not, you know, this is, a lot of us feel this way. We get lost in our own lives. People are trying to make ends meet. They have kids to raise. They're working 3 jobs. They don't have time to think about other people. And I did have time. I don't have kids. I don't have a husband. I don't have any of that. And I've been the architect of my life in that way because I don't want that kind of responsibility. I want to be able to be like a thought leader. I want to be communicating with people and telling people my stories. And I really decided that, like, I wanted to start making a contribution to people that need people like me to stand up for them a little bit more, not to fix the situation, but to bring attention to people that are like me, that are well off and white, who've never contemplated the issue.
Right.
It's more speaking to white people, because it's a white person's problem. White privilege is not a black people's problem.
Only
or a
you
brown
guys can
person's.
fix it.
Right. We created it. So let's start talking about it. And even though it's so uncomfortable, and white people don't want to be found guilty of something, because then they have to give it away. They think, oh, if I say I have privilege or I'm the beneficiary of it, then what do I have to give up? Which is a great question. What are we all willing to give up as a community and as a culture? What if we could give up things for other people? And would we?
Right.
And, you know, and it's a question I asked myself, and it's a question I answered for myself. And I wanted to spread that message, you know? And so for me, it was really about, I think we all hang out with people that look like us. You know, that's our natural instinct, is to be like, you know, most of my friends are white. It takes a lot of time to go, or not that much time. It takes a conscious effort to go, oh, okay, let me develop a friendship with this person that's not like me. She's from India. Let me get to know her culture and her background, so that I have a little bit more compassion and a little bit more empathy.
You just learned about empathy too.
Yes,
that was interesting, because
from
in
my
your
psychiatrist.
book, yes, you talk about that life would be the death of me, and you having to realize that you have sympathy, but you don't have empathy.
Yeah.
So how has that changed your life?
Well, it's good because, you know, I needed going to a therapist and having them actually break down what they think is wrong with you when you're paying them is a great exchange. It's the best way to learn. And I was like, I need you to tell me what, you know, I had no patience. I had no empathy. And he said that. He told me, he goes, you lack empathy. And I was so confused about the distinction between sympathy and empathy. And then over time, you know, you're able to as long as you are aware of the situation. Like, once he brought that to my attention, then I had to look out for it. And I was like, okay, when somebody annoyed me, for instance, I'd be like, okay, now think about their lives. Think about their house and how long they've worked today and how many assholes they've dealt with. And think about if they have a wife or a kid that loves them. You don't want to be mean to somebody. You know, like, I had to do these exercises to cultivate that empathy. So it's not something that just because you don't have it doesn't mean you can't get it. You can get it.
Right.
Yeah. And, you know, now it's exhausting because I have these thoughts about everybody.
No, I do that every day. I think about like the reason this person is being an asshole is because of this, and that.
Yeah,
something
so
led up, and
this.
it helps me because you're kind of like analyzing them, and then you kind of feel bad for them. You're like,
damn, well now y'all helping me because I'll be you know, I'm a bully. I'm kind of like you.
I'm like you. Yeah. No, I get it. But it's also nice to take a moment. Instead of reacting to everything, it was responding. Like taking the moment. The difference between a reaction and a response is the space of awareness in between. That you just said fuck you to me, and if I say fuck you, that's ego. That's my defense. If you say fuck you to me, and I say, whoa, wait, why? What did I do? Or
how did we get here?
Yeah, how did we get here? Then that is not reactive. That's a response. And I had to learn that skill, which, I mean, if you watch the documentary, you can tell that I've nailed.
Nailed it.
Done a great job. Because they were saying some things and I was like, okay.
I know. And people are used to me going for it. And I was on my own mission. I'm like, no, this is empathy. I want to understand. Because I don't think people are inherently bad. I don't think anyone's inherently bad. You lose your way. People make bad choices. They're brought up in environments that aren't educative. You know, they don't understand the history of
except
this country.
Donald Trump.
Well, Donald Trump, I have no sympathy for or empathy for. Yeah.
That's
He's like
exception.
dead. He's dead in the head. So that's enough. But it is a great skill to cultivate, and it makes you understand people better, and that people have different lives and they have different experiences, and not to be mad at somebody for voting for Donald Trump, to understand why they were moved in that direction.
And do they regret it now?
Right.
Because that's how I really judge you. Did you make a bad decision? Because if you voted for Donald Trump and you still think that was a great idea, I don't know how much empathy I have.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a racist at this point. If
At
you're
this
still
point.
supporting this guy, then you're fucking racist. And that's all there is to it.
Right.
What do you think about the candidates that are coming up now? Do you see anybody that may...
I love Elizabeth Warren. I
like Elizabeth
I
Warren,
want Elizabeth Warren and Stacey Abrams to team up. That ticket to me sounds super exciting. So yeah, I'm a big Elizabeth Warren fan. What about you?
I'm on the fence still. I still want to hear some more stuff. You know who I really like, and everybody thinks I'm crazy?
Who?
I'm part of the Yang Gang right now.
I like him.
You know, because I think he has different approaches, and I feel like sometimes you have to take a different approach. And maybe he's not
the
what
president
we need to be president,
right?
But I feel like he is somebody that we need to listen to because he's not wrong about certain things that he's saying.
I like Andrew Yang. I don't know if I would want him to be president.
Not
I like
president,
Elizabeth Warren because she has all those solutions.
Yeah, well, Elizabeth Warren does have solutions. She actually has a plan,
Right.
Which compared to this buffoon, it's like okay, we're hearing
And
somebody.
I think that's what's needed right now is a plan. Like not just a bunch of talk, not just a bunch of, but really a thoughtful, like well thought out, like plan of how to fix this shit because it's a fucking clusterfuck.
Yeah, and to make legislation moving forward that we don't ever get ourselves in a situation where a guy can just sign off a bunch of executive orders.
Right,
It's crazy.
This is a tyranny right now, so it's what we're living in. But Chelsea, I know you have to go, but I
want you
appreciate.
to.
Yeah, they
I
really
had
don't.
so much fun, you guys.
No, you really, honestly, like I was so excited for you to come here because I've been watching you forever. I went to your stand up. You know, I read all of your books. My Horizontal Life. That was I enjoy things like that, and I love the lies Chelsea told me.
Yeah,
we want Chelsea Lately to come back.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna hold your breath for that one. A lot of people want that. My Mike, when we're out of ideas, I say to my team, Chelsea Lately reboot.
It was, to me, that was the best late night show.
I told you, like I said, I fashioned myself when people tell me like, oh, you're talking too much about sex, you're talking too much about anal. I'm like, okay, but Chelsea. I mean,
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. I paved your anal pathway. You're welcome.
But I'm disappointed about your lack of dick sucking skills. I
know you are. I know. I bet. So is everyone. No one's happy about it.
Some people more disappointed than me, I'm sure. But next time you come back, because I know you are going to come back. Oh, maybe we should try that. What's it called again?
Ayahuasca.
No, we're doing
Maybe you
that.
should do ayahuasca and suck dick on it.
No, I don't. She'll be throwing up and
Honestly.
shitting.
Okay, that's not what I want to do on ayahuasca.
Exactly.
It's supposed to be something to reflect
Maybe
on
you
your
should do
life.
I wanna
ayahuasca and
see
suck dick
Jesus.
on
I'm
it.
good, Chelsea. I'm okay. I don't need the help.
I think if I take ayahuasca, I'll see Jesus.
You might.
That's what I'm saying. I want to do it so bad.
Yeah.
All right,
We are going to do it. So next time we see each other, we're going to be doing drugs.
Yeah.
Lip service does drugs.
She's getting us a good shaman.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And again, your tour is happening right now. You're starting off in Australia, right?
Yeah, Australia. And then I'm doing some North American cities. LiveNation.com. You can buy tickets.
Oh, and we have a tour too on Live Nation.
Live Nation.
Hello.
Yes, we do.
Our tour starts at the end of October. Is it October?
Yeah, yes. The 20th.
October
20th in Philly, and then New York, and then we have a bunch of different cities. We're not going to Australia or nothing
but
like that.
But we're coming to LA.
We are coming to LA in November.
LA. And yeah, so make sure you check us out too on Live Nation as well to get those tickets for Lip Service Live. Thank you so much, Chelsea. We really appreciate it.
This has been amazing.
Thank you, girls.
Lip Service.
Bye.